and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am.
So hello there, beloved Ascension Pioneers, and welcome to this month's Ascension and Energy Update. So this is quite a transmission. This is a big month. Are you feeling it? So as you can see, as a part of the changes, I have a new microphone. Someone was sweet and generous enough to give this to me to have a better sound quality, because I had some issues with my iPhone videos and my iPad videos, and people were complaining about the sound. And I'm truly happy when people don't just complain, but say, look, I want to contribute, you know. So thank you so much. And thank you for those of you who are also in a way supporting, donating to what I do, because it takes so many hours of work and constant devotion. So anyway, let's get back on track for this month. This month's update will be slightly different. It won't have such a component to the Galactic update, because I'm working on a Galactic Human Embodiment course, which will become available soon in the near future. So bear with me and stay updated for any notifications on that. If you want to receive updates from me, you better tune into either my blog, Diary of an Ascension Pioneer, so subscribe there, because these are almost like my newsletters. My blogs are also my newsletters, because I don't have yet a template for newsletters. I'm not sure this is a part of my path, because I do so many things multiversally, so I don't want to fragment my energy too much. So you can follow these updates. You can just put subscription via email, and you're going to get these Ascension updates. I do them on the beginning of each month via blog, and also I do them frequently with different energy attunements, so it depends on the topics I want to flow through in each moment. And my two Facebook pages, which is Polona Rhea Dawn, and of course Ascension Pioneer is my main page. So you also have to stay updated there. Facebook doesn't always allow posts to be there, especially if I'm posting something external like Instagram, so you have to tune and check in on the page. You won't always get notifications. And as well, YouTube, you also have to press the notify me, that bell, you know, that is on the right corner, I think, of YouTube and each video. So if you want to get updates, stay aligned there. What else I want to share about this as a new platform is, as you can see, as you've been following, I started doing live videos. I did a Facebook live video just before I left for my short Thursday holiday this month in September. And I will do that more frequently, but right now I'm still in the middle of a lot of processing during this activation, when I'm receiving guidance for the Galactic Human Embodiment course, and of course the third book, which I'm still working on, the Tantrika, the Seed of Life, and the Sacred Illumined Unions. Besides the two books that are already in a way written but not yet edited. So stay updated. It's going to take some time, but these are the main notifications I wanted to share before we start with today's energy. So what I want to do first is just give a little the preview what October is like energetically, so then we can move into the topics that Spirit presented to me for this month that we can specifically work with. But not just that, but what Gaia as a planetary light being or light body and life force is asking us, is calling us to do and step up into. So the first thing I want to say is that I always share this, and you can get this information everywhere via everyone's videos, except that I address this in my own unique way. So October is a 11, which adds up into 2 month. Which, as you can see, September was a lot about new beginnings, but these new beginnings were initiated within our sacred heart. We felt a pull. There was a shift. Recently, I have to tell you, I've experienced the most profound inner union. And as you know, union is always taking place in these steps of integration, because we activate a new level of self-union and then we integrate it. And this integration stage is sometimes what people don't fully understand. It's a part of the activation, and people always want to be in this high up and moving energy, but we have to embrace this integration phase as well. And when you're not working in your shadow, you're forgetting what ascension is all about, because remember, physical ascension does not only mean, okay, I'm going to be a good person, I'm going to think positively, I'm going to join the New Age movement, I'm going to read spiritual articles and books, I'm going to hang out in spiritual related clubs or groups or whatever. in truth, physical ascension is between you and your source. It's between you and your core self. It's the return to your core self. And as you're returning, there's going to be veils. And you're going to unveil each segment, each sector, each house. So it's like each different floor. A lot of times when we have dreams of different floors in a building. That also shows us, you know, these steps and these grades that we're mastering ourselves through. So every aspect within every timeline or lifetime has to be explored, looked into, and integrated back into the whole. Because if there's any darkness, which is the hidden repressed shadow left, perhaps there's is a judgment of shadow. I remember meeting a specific person who was so resistant to change. And when we have any sort of resistance to change in a way that we feel we're the only ones who already are aware of everything, we know everything, yet life is challenging, but we will never admit to our faults, which are these suppressed shadow attributes that keep springing forth, so that we can't embody the purity. We can't be the pure vessel. We can't truly be aligned with our creative soul potential because we are so much in the hiding mode. And this immense stubbornness and pride and egoic self-centeredness keeps us stuck. The soul can't expand. And usually this happens with individuals who are very much in judgment of what they perceive as dark. They think it's something bad. So in truth, ascension is not about being good or bad. I've seen people who talk about ascension, but they think it's about being good. And they try so hard being good, they don't realize when they're actually being bad. Because when you have polarity that's unintegrated within you, it will always play out in the good versus evil, the inner demons, the non-expressed true light in your physical reality. And that's what continuously happens. And sometimes these individuals will have an innate desire to always constantly, you know, it's almost like energetically purify and always project this, what is wrong with others or the world, but never, you know, accessing that which is the key to their liberation, which is the acknowledgement of the shadow and admitting to our faults, which are simply egoic non-alignments because we've sort of forgotten who we are for a while. So that's very important. So why I'm talking about these things is this return to the self is so intense. It is so deep in the month of October, not just because it's 11 number, which adds up into 2, which is all about partnership, but also because we have an amazing shift this month on October 10th. Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion, so how we expand, how we grow, what's our growth potential here, moves into the sign of Scorpio. So we were kind of moving and traveling for around a year through the Libra energy, and before that we had a Virgo energy within the purity and real self-alignment, and then within the Libra energy we're growing a lot through relationships and even challenges and dynamics of when are we not truly being ourselves, not just in alignment with the self and our core, but also sometimes the push and pull of others or their expectations or projections make us perhaps act differently. So, you know, as energy is always aligning us, each time a cycle deepens, each time we're being in depth more integrated. Because, you know, like I said, ascension is really about the physical act of complete polarity integration. It is not an act of being simply good or thinking positive thoughts and thinking you're already ascended and enlightened and yet you have so many challenges in your life. You have to, in a way, look into that. So the Scorpio energy now, as Jupiter moves into this alignment, will bring this depth of self-union through the body, because the Scorpio is a lot about how do we channel that life force through the body. A lot of times people talk about in astrology of Scorpio energy being, you know, the 8th house is the infinity. It's also partnerships, it's marriage, but it's that alchemical marriage. And in truth, people talk about joint finances in terms of astrology, but this is more like joining of 2 energies coming together. So that's what October is about. And I've shared with you via my messages that what's happening now is there's a completion stage of divine union for many people, for many souls. What this means is that you will experience different waves of integration of your union journey, because I always talk about divine union in terms of devotional partnership. As you know, it's if you want that alignment, which is called the sacred devotional partnership, which is the service to Gaia, service to life force, service to unity. It will have to align with that within your own core. You will have to return to your core. It is not about the relationship and then you have it and then you own it. It is about the co-creation which you align with. And then it perhaps is presented to you if that is a part of your soul agreement, which in many cases for the volunteer souls it is. because we're here to serve within the polarity expression in the physical. So it's when spirit meets the matter and joins, this love becomes the love of flesh, the love of spirit truly moving into every aspect of our physical reality. So the Scorpio energy will give us a set off, a template into really unifying. And as you know, sometimes union comes in these waves, and you will feel a wave of complete washing over with the beloved energy. And then again, and another time you won't feel it. It's because, you know, we activate and then we integrate. And when we have those surges and divine messages, and it's like a whirlpool of energy, which is simply, you don't know what it's all about. It's so many messages, it's so much speaking to you through life force. But then you don't know, because you always expect something will happen physically, but a lot of that was for our integration within, so that we truly embrace the creation pillar within us. The next stage now, and that's why this Jupiter transit in Scorpio is so important, as in terms of how I see it, how Spirit shows me, is that this union becomes more physical. So it's not just the inner activation, which was, it served our light quotient, so that our light quotient was able to be expressed to our highest capacity. Not just like, you know, what you think or feel comfortable with, but your entire divine potential, which you came here to live and express, to share in divine service. And divine service is the essence of ascension. So you serve Gaia in order to ascend. It's one and the same, and you're ascending to serve Gaia. It's a loop. It's a infinity symbol kind of relationship dynamics of this integrated polarity. So Jupiter and Scorpio will serve this integration of polarity through the physical aspect, the physical alchemy. So if you're following me on Instagram, you will see that I recently created these golden tiny beloved cards, and I placed them in this heart box that I got for my birthday. And these are only sacred words of the beloved, which I channel through spirit. They hold only beloved messages. So when I do my messages and I share them there about devotional partnership and sacred union and sacred marriage, I always pull 3, because that represents divine trinity, and then the message flows through that expression of these divine channeled words. This is such an important path now, that this wants to be a part of this Ascension update more than anything else this month, what I'm shown. Because if you felt that inner shift recently, and I've deeply felt it because I've started to express this, what I've kind of like was cultivating for a while with the sacred life force dancing, and it really became an integrated whole at a certain aspect. So this was actually just recently. And this is a part of this, what's happening now. But I want to say how we will in October activate these energies. As you know, we always move each month through lunations. And we will have the first lunation on October 5th in Aries, 12 degrees, and then October 19th will be in Libra. So as you know, we will have the full moon first in Aries, and then the new moon in Libra in 26 degrees. It's always important for you to do that consciously, to see which aspect of your own natal chart that aligns to, which means, Aries, 12 degrees, where is this in my chart? And you look it up, you see which house that falls under, what alignments or planetary associations you have there. I talk more about this in my Galactic signature course, and the continuation in the Galactic consciousness course, which is also available as a duo of a partnership of these courses. So it's important to see what essences these things activate within us, and what we've really truly felt called into now. This divine service was for the new moon, and it aligned with the equinox energy, which was on 20th of September, which was a new moon in Virgo. And I really know this energy to the bottom, to the depth, because it's my sun sign. And it was very close. It was in 27 degrees of Virgo. And it really was calling us out to this purity of service. And when you see how does this align with the dance of Jupiter, which serves how we will expand. So for a year now, how will we dance this dance of life? Because as you know, each planetary body represents an aspect, how we expand. And then when you look at it from closer, you know, closer inner planets represent more our personal interactions. Then the outer planets and the stellar and the fixed stars and all these constellations are more like galactic patterns or archetypes and associations that lead us more and more into core creation self. It's all in my courses. So this is also written in the path of tarot. And recent Spirit shared to me that as an ascension journey towards galactic consciousness, although it was also distorted in its essence, you know, tarot was many times too much dark in its energy. In truth, it is pure, and it shows the map into embodying our pillar. So the major arcana stands for embodying our vertical illumined pillar of light, while the minor arcana with its elements is about embodying the horizontal through the path of all these elements and exploring different versions of the self, our multiple realities, the multiple partnerships and relationships we're building. So what I really want to share here with you is that if you feel called to be within a sacred devotional partnership, if you feel that's my path, you have to know that we first have to align with the planetary core. We have to align with the mission of Gaia. Because a while ago I was in the Alps in Italy, and I've had this vision, and I've shared this with you I think before, how my beloved and I, we traveled through this, it was almost like a wormhole into this realm, into this reality, and then we actually had to go also through the Earth's core, into the Earth's core through this another black hole. It was like another wormhole. We ended there, and in the core of Gaia we received our missions that were on a planetary service level. And then we were driving these little, what were they? It was like trains, and then at a certain part we parted ways so that we could each individually accept that and embrace that inner self-union before creating together, although it's always an illumined union effort. So it is very important for us to know that if you want partnership, not based on romance, the majority of people just want romance, marriage, love, twin flame. I don't talk about these things as in twin flames. I talk about divine illumined union, which is here to raise the light quotient of yourself first in the partnership, creating an alchemical marriage that contributes to the life force rising of this planet. You're first needing to learn how to do this within yourself, because when you have a partner, you don't know how to do that with together. You know, too much energy, you don't know how to channel it, it's not a proper thing. So those of us who are on this path of really mastering our pillar of light, in order to know how to infuse the planetary life force, and to do that in devotional, which is a triagonal, in a way, experience of this co-creation that becomes divine trinity expression and form, we really had to plunge into every depth of shadow so we could eventually do that in sacred partnership. Because on Earth we had to go through many imprints, and in many things we set upon as volunteer souls. We said, okay, this is what I will work on, and this is what I'll have to design. As in a way, we're like architects of our own creation story. So I want to read you this before we move into other topics, because today I wrote this beautiful poem. It's like a letter of expression to this devotional partnership. And it just flew through me, and I said, wow, I never share these things with you guys, so maybe today's time. Okay. Consider this a devotional integration through divine remembrance of what true love and sacred selfless service is all about. My dearest love, look at how far we've come. The days are quickly passing by, and each one leads me closer to you. I have been refining myself to be the woman I truly am, and the perfect woman for you. Let us not give up, my dearest one, for to love we must stay true. It is the spirit life force that guides us in every step, through every breath. In each one, more surrendered, closer to the core, closer to the heart of God. The awakening masculine and feminine within us, and rivers of words unspoken, but heard and felt through the ethers, as each one holds the light where we are. Every day we are new, blessing so many with our love. The fabric of creation flows through us, and we are becoming united as one through this earthly flesh. No more bound and living in chains, because this is not our reality, but rather fully owning and witnessing the beauty of our unique creation through the life we are co-creating here on earth. The life of living magic, the crystalline being of the soul, purified through the sacred fire within the light of the thousand suns. Every day, we're holding hands, awakening the hearts of so many. Every moment is embraced through the beauty and grace of divine service. Every breath is the sacred gift of life that is not given but created, through each pulse of life anew. Love so pure, love so true, flowing uniquely through only me and you. As you. So as you know, unity expresses itself as the unity in a partnership. What I want to share about this is that I see still a lot of distortions of what this divine union is supposed to be all about. And a lot of times I share these beautiful readings or posts on my page, and people sometimes respond in a way that I feel, you know, when you truly are in this union, you experience it internally, and it's so sacred to you. You don't need to, like, you know, talk about it in a way like, yes, me, it's all about me. It's nothing egoic, because in truth, it's not about richness. It's not about you being at a certain position. It's not about you having a partner and then, you know, reading about this of the union and then saying, I want to translate somehow this to my partnership and I want to make it work in that way. It doesn't go like that. It's not a translation. It's not like, you know, when we had homeworks in school and we kind of cheated off that, you know, you wrote your homework from someone else. You know, I never did that. I mean, maybe I did. I don't remember though. But it's almost like you're trying to put something and kind of put it in your framework instead of building the framework from within. So that's the kind of union I talk about, this completely owned, illumined union where your light quotient rises to the degree, which means in terms of the creation pillar, how you build it. We had to build the light pillar representing the light quotient and the uniqueness of our creation self that we are, which means when you expand in a way so much vertically, imagine that everything is a direct alignment. It's a direct translation of spirit becoming matter. So as to make that manifest, how much you've reached, and of course it's not a linear representation, it's very distorted when I talk about it in this sense, but how much you have reached and expanded vertically, which means how much light quotient you received. It's not just personal level, you know, the astral level, soul level, you know, it's like goes over soul, head over soul, blah, blah, you know, expanding to all this degree. As much as you've stretched out vertically, then this in a way has to be created through that light quotient horizontally. That's what true union is about. And for those of you who've stretched far and out vertically, and you felt, well, I couldn't really associate myself with the sort of relationships that are being offered to me or people want from me, in terms of what they see a relationship as, it doesn't match what I feel, is because your light quotient, how much you've did this vertical expansion, does not perhaps relate to how much they've expanded that within their own being, which again means that each union has to be unique. But a fully illumined union means that you have stretched far enough that this translation of life force is in this constantly stimulating self-birthed flow of you being fully attained through the life force, which means life force guides these unions, not the ego, not the expectations, not the labels. So that was always my main message, although I didn't always, you know how to translate it perfectly into words, and it's still ongoing and growing, because I've grown so much in my own understanding of it through spirit, and what years and years of seeing this, and each time spirit showing me the same thing, what it's all about in the selfless service, is it starts to more and more translate into your life in a physical sense, because you have to own up to doing this within yourself first, internally. It's an inside job, let's just call it like that. So when you finally drop all expectations, all belief systems, everything you think you must have and others have, and you're trying to compare, you can't compare because of this, right? So you've created a certain, that's what we're doing for all these years. You've created a certain outstretch of this alignment vertically, and you want it to, you know, somehow, you know what I mean? You do like this. It seems wider in the horizontal as well, because creating this creates this instead of this, something small. You see what I'm going with this? So when your devotion on a soul agreement was, I want to be operating from this level, and for a lot of you, you might say, I want to be in the illumined union state, then you had to go through this, which means in the physical sense, you had to embody the light quotient that you've activated in a vertical sense. So this is what became your outer reality. And it perhaps did not always hold did not come through relationship energy, did not hold the relationship energy. You've held it within yourself, because you knew what you were preparing for, what you were activating and seeding in this light quotient horizontal union. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Let's see what else is there. So I want to show you some of the things later towards the end that I've created as a part of this activation, because I've created some devotional jewelry that is specifically for this illumined pathway. And everything I do, it's always a devotional piece of artwork. It's not fashion jewelry. It's not, I work with spirit that shows me what kind of, as a symbolic and representation needs to be put in it. So I'll share this at the end with you. But I want to again remind you of the galactic human and the cosmic life force dance video. Why this is so important is because when this becomes a part of your ritual, your daily routine, perhaps doesn't mean now you need to be a professional dancer. It can be in any way you completely allowing the life force to show you how you channel it in the, not this automatic human response, but that divine alignment in every day. Because when you generate enough light quotient through life force for yourself each day, you do that on a planetary level. You do that for the planet. You do that for the betterment of the whole. So I've also shared with you recently that we have to start tuning into the Gaia's essence, the ascended version of Gaia, because there's already this splitting happening. And when you're tuning into the other split, which is, wow, all this fear-mongering, chaos in the planet, weather patterns that are distorted, you know, all of that, then you're still tuning into this transitional energy, and a lot of it, this flow that's coming in the planet and causes all this chaos, is coming from this almost like this fourth density. But the fifth density is all about this cosmic heart within, and that's why the path of this union is so important, because it aligns you with what is the truth within the beloved heart, the cosmic heart of the beloved. So at this time, it is becoming so crucially important for us to be the pillars for Gaia, to be these connecting forces of creation that serve the planet. And I'll show you a quick exercise now how to do that, because there's things happening on our planet that are not all love and light, of course. So you're tuning simultaneously into this Gaia consciousness, which is the ascended, the being, the light being Gaia, and of course simultaneously your ascended being. If you don't know how, and if you feel I'm unworthy of ascension, you can also align with the cosmic master or a certain guide or an angelic being, a celestial being that aligns with you, so that you're kind of in the safekeeping of that energetic, or a celestial guardian, before you're ready to really claim your own ownership of becoming a celestial guardian. And I also shared a video about that a few videos back, where I talked about our stewardship and being guardians for this planet. A lot of what's happening is still wars, weather chaos, slaughtering of animals. Recently, someone shared in an email her vision of seeing so many animals, and a lot of these animals are sacred animals, like the whales, the reindeers, and I think she mentioned the cows. These are all sacred animals that channel a lot of energy that needs to be present on this planet, each in their own way. But if these animals were not present, the planet would not be the same as it was designed originally, with specific species that need to belong to the framework of this planet to hold the biosphere together, to function in its automatic, constantly self-renewing mode. And when we interfere to a certain degree that misaligns to the way of, almost like, you know, it's almost like genocide that we can create, is we eliminate so much of that the life force can't flow through these forms of life. Which means if the light DNA is not present in the physical form, so you can see all of us as representatives of certain energies on this planet. That's how you tune into your multidimensional awareness in this conscious accessing of this, which is the core truth. So you might say, wow, this person so much resembles the nature of the fairy, so they have this kind of energy. That's what they're grounding on the planet. We all have multidimensional stream of light, that we have different energies we can tune into, but we have a more dominant essence that we're anchoring here. So it's like these, imagine these higher beings, in a way they have each their representatives here, and this is us. So these are higher versions of us, and we are them in the same way. So that's a part of the ascension integration, is when you remember that. And the same goes for animals. So they also have these representatives here. And because we can't physically alter things, we can't change through more resistance, is the person recommended that we join in our prayers in the heart, and we really send love and light to these beings who are, you know, participating in this mass slaughtering or very, very, very cruel acts and endeavors. Why this is so important at this time is because imagine the shifting point being at a certain depth, being at its held at its maximum capacity, and this is where we are now. And when at this maximum threshold, because the light has grown so much on the planet, the darkness is in also, because of the polarity principle, seems to be at its highest, you know, order. And that's why it is so important to connect with the illumined essence of Gaia and ask to receive what you can do for the greatest good of all in your part on the planet. And each day you can get a different assignment as well. We're going to do a short exercise. I'm going to show you how to really connect with Gaia. Gaia is a constant stream of life force, a source of abundance. You will get all your support, because when you are service to the whole and planetary servant of life, you always get support. It's not just finances, it's also the right people coming, it's the right things happening that you need for the mission. It's all in equal proportion, given and shared, co-created with you for the whole. So all of us who are planetary life servants, we function at the light quotient, which is very high. And for us to maintain that quotient, a lot of times we also have to say no to things. And this will be part of my next, I think, Elohim channeling. Is you probably noticed me doing these as well. It's they've shown me this is time now. It's because of this. It's my way. It's my contribution to the Gaia consciousness and the rising of the consciousness here on the planet as we remember the creation principles and sacred laws that hold all life together. So that's kind of like my 2 cents, which, you know, it's not just 2 cents, but it's kind of like my input that I've been recently guided into. So when you will get each day the sacred assignment, you might question it and you say, well, this? I need to do this? But you know, the mind says how many things you need to do and do and do. Sometimes the pushing, the striving, the working hard does not always beneficial for the planet and what Gaia wants of us, and where our true channeling of life force needs to be present with. And the mind can create these resistances, and we're so entrenched in this because of the massive programming. And here again lies this story of DNA alteration manipulation, which took place eons ago. And when we say, well, humans had their DNA distorted and kind of like dropped so much, it was only true strands left, basic survival and very instinctual, and that's it. So we all function on this fight or flight survival mode, so we couldn't get into the highest awareness points of our higher self activation. We couldn't remember. Humanity couldn't fully remember. And the forces of darkness are still here to show us a mirroring which aspects of us don't want to remember. Because there's also souls who are called the lazy souls, who don't want to move forward, who've kind of grown accustomed to this 2 strands of DNA living in this way, and they don't want change. Just recently we've talked to someone at a shoe store. We kind of went by, and this woman, she's very talkative, and she starts to blah blah blah, all this and that. And in the end, we talk about the leather and the animals, and you know, people are eating meat all over the place. And I asked her, I said, what are you doing this for? What's your choice? And she said, because I need to feel full in my belly. I said, wow, that's interesting, because the reason why people feel so full after eating meat is because the body has difficulty digesting it. It's so hard to process and digest. And people think they're being nourished, but they're actually just being clogged with things in their bellies. And I said, wow, that's the only reason. It's very egoic, it's very selfish for us to think of that way. And we continued this slaughtering of animals and all of that. It's because the reason is I need to feel full. That was one of the reasons given there. I love to listen to people because they show me where the majority is at and why they're doing and why they're choosing what they're choosing. And she said, well, if I had to choose to be vegan, I probably had to be, you know, pumping things in my veins. I had to be in a hospital. It's the belief. It's people think we need to be dense. People are getting used to density. She said, I need to feel very heavy in my body so I can function. So you see, there's people who gotten so used to this 2 strands of living. And at the end, she also said, well, I know we're selfish as a species. It's just how we are. And then we said, no, we can change. It's not a fixed outcome. It's not fated reality. We have a choice to change. And the majority of humanity who is at this comfortable mode and functioning in these two strands of DNA is getting comfortable. And then there's others who are heavily uplifting, and then there's those in between. So there's many streams of light, as you know, light and shadow that's playing out. Because this planetary story of its evolution needs to be completed, and you're not helping as a volunteer soul by tuning so much into this shifting reality. So I was shown that we need to drop this idea of we're always in transition, we're always in shifting, we're always shifting. And a lot of us will say, well, what does it ever end? When does the shifting end? Well, the shifting is constant. Even when a planet anchors fully the embodiment of the fifth density, this is what it's about. The same as you in your ascension. You were activating the light quotient for your pillar so you could eventually step into the full embodiment of it. And the same goes for the planet. So we don't know. We don't have a time or a date frame for this full embodiment process. But we kind of, those of us who are on the stream of being servants to life, volunteer souls, we have to drop this idea of we're constantly shifting, because a lot of us have done the embodiment process. So yes, there is a reality of shifting, but you, as you know, there's many paradigms, there's many realities, and I've talked about embracing different perspectives through these timelines in my equinox video. So watch that if you haven't already, because it gives you this idea of embracing all, but then also tuning into where you are in each moment. So when we talk about the DNA alteration, people usually think, well, what kind of experiments were done to humans, right? Were they dissecting them? Was that physically done? No. That was done through DNA manipulation, through frequency, through sound, a certain net placed around the planet that had very low frequency. So as you expose something for longer amounts of time to a certain frequency, it starts to fall into that density. So that was the main cause. And that's why it's so important for you to choose things of refinement, to be out in nature because it's purity of frequency, to choose what kind of music you listen to, what food you are aligning yourself and putting in your body. It is so important to choose. That was the main message throughout all those years, because it gives you, it helps you to align in this frequency that will be a part of your DNA activation, but also illumination. So if you want to know more about that, how DNA works, how you can illuminate your DNA, and with a light exercise, I've created an MP3 download, which is the light activation for your illumined human DNA. So that's available. So it's very important now. I had these dreams also when I was shown that we were devoting ourselves to a certain something for a while, and then I was shown now the devotion needs to be placed elsewhere. I'm like, what? The devotion is always there. Yes, in spirit it's always, you feel this devotion is always with something that is your highest value, which you tune into when you really access your soul's wisdom and embodiment process. Then it brings that to the surface in your physical life. So what this means is that in a physical sense, because there's such a huge transition for us, our devotional process perhaps needs to be anchored differently. So perhaps if you were very devoted to people and serving people and giving to others, and you thought that's ascension, maybe now you would be more called to really serve more the planet. That's what I'm shown. So it depends on where each of you is in your own timeline. You have to commune with spirit day to day, on a daily basis, to really feel what's within your pillar, the reality for you. You can do my exercise. I've shared it in the Elohim video, the channel messages. But very much this knowledge of how to work with our ascension pillar, the timelines, how to energize timelines, how to work with those potentialities, how to choose the right reality within those potentialities, how to embody the soul also through the sacred life force dancing, all will be a part of my Galactic Human Self-Mastery course in the near future, very soon. It's time to really serve Gaia now. It's time to really be with the planet. And when people say, I'm going out into nature, I'm with the planet, well, perhaps a lot of the work is being done through us just energetically as being the channels. Just sometimes you just touch things and objects in nature and you're already, you know, being little alchemists, changing and shifting the energy. But this call recently is much deeper. It's to daily commune with Gaia as well, not just the source. But now there's this union process created. It's not just union within yourself and then union with your potential divine partnership, but the union of this source self, you're in the middle, and this Gaia, the creation part, which is just different aspects of it. So you unify with your own higher aspect. You can share this in sacred devotional partnership, and then you also influence a greater reality, a greater whole on a planetary level and beyond and beyond. So there's other levels of mastery and service as well. So we will do a short exercise now. I want to show you the simplest exercise you can daily use, or when you feel called or guided, to really push through this life force, through the sacred breath, and then put this infusion of light into the planet and receive back from it. So that it's like this divine trinity process of you channeling from source, rooting into Gaia, and then Gaia giving back to you. It's in this union, in the infinity symbol process. So let's do the exercise and see how that goes. So welcome to this last part with a very simple light exercise, how to connect and commune daily with Gaia's living life force and the consciousness of its light being through your own light being awareness. So I recommend you to sit in a yogic position, which I can do right now because I'm sitting on the rocks. But I did this yesterday on a meadow as the sun was going down. It was such a beautiful experience. I can't explain how amazing it felt, and it was just something that wanted to be shared. And I asked Gaia's life force, I said, what can I do? And she said, well, just share this message, show the exercise. So again, I want to remind you that the simplest things are always the best, because when you work with simplicity, your mind is not overly engaged. It doesn't think, aha, I have to put this here, activate this, you know, Merkaba here, left or right, you know, too much. So with simplicity, you actually engage the life force to just flow through you. You're simply being the vehicle, you're being the channel. So as you're sitting in your yogic position, the first part you will focus on is the yogic breathing. If you want to learn how to truly breathe in the right way, so that you're not actually wasting your breath, but you're giving your breath as a sacred gift of life in the right way, which is the right abdominal way, the right way through your lungs and your heart, and then rooted back, and kind of creating this spiral of life and how it flows. Because when it does flow properly, you will instantly feel a very strong sensation in your pelvic area. It will feel very pleasant because it means you're cultivating. It's almost like you're nesting, and then you're going to rise that energy. You're going to raise it further up. So if you want to learn that and a whole bunch of other things in a huge, all-encompassing course called the Tantrika Life Force Mastery, you can get that on my page. But just to tell you how the exercise continues, just sit and breathe. And when you will feel that sensation in your pelvic area, which is usually, it will feel like your root chakra is having very pleasant sensations. It's like spiral is very soft, very gentle, almost like a feeling of caressing, a feeling of belonging, that mothering energy of real deep nurturing connection with the planet. That will be the first stage. Then you will connect and rise that energy with your breath. You'll raise it upward. Perhaps you might join in with your hands. You can also create mudras, which channel divine mana instantly. And as a part of this second part, you can raise your hands and just feel how you're pulling. You can even imagine yourself pulling. You're anchoring all that life force in your vertical column of light. And when you feel like you've done that to the degree it feels pleasant, you feel, it's complete for now, I want you to feel your hands as cosmic connectors. You know, the Hamsa, the divine hand with the eye, well, it's all parts of our body. It's the body's cosmology is tuned into the whole. And I talk about body cosmology also in my Galactic consciousness course. So when this feels complete, take your hands and place them. You're literally placing them on the planet, on Earth, in a straight position. Don't let them be loose, just really straight. Sit straight. And for a while now, you simply drop all thoughts. You're not sending energy to Gaia because it's not you doing it. It's not, you know, I'm so good, I'm doing this for the planet. Again, It's not true ascension. It's not working with the pillar of light. It's just simply aligning with the pillar within you to be the establishment of that which already is. So you're not basically doing anything. You're being the vessel. It has to be completely selfless, completely humble, and unconditional. It's almost in a way, you know, when sometimes we gift each other as fellow humans and we say, well, I gave you that, but it has this price on it. Well, that's not truly a gift. Saying, I gifted you this and it has this value, or I did this for you and it has this and that. That's not then a gift. The same goes for this. You're not giving anything. You are simply being the channel for the highest light attainment, the vessel of this beautiful liquid light expressing itself. So as you're doing this, you will probably feel an intense energy moving through your hands. And you will also feel a deep connection with the earth. At this point, earth might start sending you back ripples of energy, messages, things. You will feel like this wave of real deep support. Just feel that. And what I felt myself was I started rotating within my vortex. And that's when I knew that the pillar is being activated through the earth core connection. And as this is also then created, just feel that core within your heart. So connect that into your heart. From this heart-centered awareness, you can ask yourself questions, not egoic questions, but questions of service and devotion. You can ask Gaia, Source, and the union of all, show me my truest path, or show me my next step in this moment for the greatest good of all. How may I serve life force as the living embodiment of light? Or how may I help to expand and embody the light quotient that wants to be expressed through me as a conscious pillar vehicle? And then release any expectation of getting that answered for you. Just be the conscious servant to life in an endless way of constant gratitude and gift of life. Because after doing this, I have to tell you, I had this most profound feeling of life is just so juicy, life is so rich, life is so deep. But not if we live it in a shallow way. That's just how it is. You have to live it with depth. You have to become that. You have to become your greatest desire. So if you have a desire, don't reach out for it, but become that greatest desire. Become that beautiful, magical child of creation that you are. And then life will be just as magical. So it's time to assist Gaia in a new step, in a more advanced step, because a lot of us have graduated from a certain phase, and the planet has as well. And now, on this physical level, we're bringing that forth in a new way. Which also means that our missions, they're not changing because the mission is always the mission, but they're getting adjustments, which might take a while. So I'm feeling next year we will already feel the blooming, the blooming results of what is now seeding within us. So let's see, and let's hope for the best as always. And in this last part, I want to share with you my magical new creations that I've created for this beautiful illumined union path. So I wanted to, as I've promised, show you as well something I've been making as a part of my devotional jewelry. You can find all of my jewelry pieces on Serapina Light blog, which is my Seraphim art blog page. So they come, these devotional tools, as you'll see them, in this beautiful infinity symbol bag. It's hand knitted, not by me. And what I wanted to channel through this necklace basically is the flow of spirit in illumined union. So of course, as always, they're gold and white, and you can see detailed images on my webpage on the Seraphim art section. What you can see here first, I want to explain them a bit. A letter B, which stands for the beloved. So as I said, this is the illumined union. So you have the infinity symbol created here. You have circle, which as always represents spirit. You have the angelic essence here, and then circle, white circle, and some of them are golden for spirit, because the circle always represents the creation of our spirit self. And then downward you have a feather and a swan feather, which swans are always real messengers of divine union. And they're actually created as malas, which are a part of the devotional jewelry we wear. It's not a fashion jewelry, but we wear it as in terms of the energy essence we want to really seed and activate and embody. So these are available on my page. I only have a few because I have a limited edition of material so far. I don't know where I'll be making more, so stay updated. There's only a few available, so if you're interested, better hurry up. And then there's something else I created, which is a part of this path, and it's the purity. I wanted to create something of purity, and these are the angelic necklaces. So as you can see, there's this purity angel here at the bottom, and then there's a chain and a feather. And I wanted to really create these for aligning with this beautiful white light and the angelic essence of purity. And again, you can see detailed images on my webpage. And for more details, only a few of these. So I think I have 4 of these now and 3 of these so far, but I don't know when I'll be making more. So this is very much in alignment with this month, which is so much about this union process, because I couldn't channel these necklaces that I wanted to do for such a long time, and then suddenly, bam, just came. I want to thank you for staying updated with my videos, for sharing, for liking, and for sending me your feedback. As always, have a beautiful month. As always, so much love, wisdom, and power, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. So look at this beautiful fall, autumn leaves, golden leaves, abundance. You know, for such a long time now, humans have been asking, I want this, give me this. Please let me have a new car, a new house, a new job. But so very few were at the level of, you know, serving back, just knowing what this infinite flow of life force expression is all about. Understanding true unity, understanding true law of divine reciprocity, of giving and receiving. So each time you have a request, a desire, it's not about, I need to do this in order to receive that. It's not about conditional love, you know, we still receive. But it's coming at the level of fulfilling our light quotient to the degree when we naturally just wish to ripple it all out, just flow out, emanate our abundance, which is not only material abundance, it's perhaps spiritual wisdom. We overflow with our light quotient, that all life may be sustained and equally whole as we are, as we feel deep inside. I finish off with this thought. Have a beautiful month of October. I'll talk to you again soon. Take care. So much love.